are listening to Digital Denizens.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Digital Denizens podcast, where we live to discuss all things in the ever-expansive gaming realm. Today is January 24th, episode 19, and I'm your host, Keith Whalen, the man with the Gamer Stache. Alongside me is friend of the show, Josiah, a.k.a. VileShrew.
Shrew.
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man.
Good to have you back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, anytime. Dude, we got a good episode ahead of us. Before we do though, I just want to let you guys know, if you guys want to write into the podcast, if you guys have us read some of your funny anecdotes, interesting or emotionally charged video game stories, offer up ridiculous life questions like, what is a cyber deck? Well, we tell you if we knew, but we don't. So if you just want to write in and share with us what you're currently playing, we'll be thrilled to share your thoughts with the rest of our listeners. So you can write into the show on Facebook at Digital Denizens or on Instagram at digital_denizens. And of course, if you have any feedback for us that helps us to improve the show, we would love to hear from you as well. So shall we dive into it? Video games.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what have you been playing, Vile?
A few things. So I was on Epic Game Store. Battlefront 2 is for free, so I've been playing that, which is pretty cool. It's like basically a Battlefield game with Star Wars skins, so I'm way into it.
It's a great game.
And then I've been playing some like
better now that they fixed all the loot box stuff.
Yeah, totally. Also, it's free. Like while it's free on Epic, it's kind of hard not to like it.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But I mean, yeah, it's just fun, just a good time if you like shooters, things like that. I don't know how much. I think it's no longer free on Epic, but I think they switched. Yeah, but I mean, Epic's pretty dope for that anyway. So I play a little bit of that. I've been playing Man of Medan. I went back and played that, and like Little Hope, which is after the Until Dawn series, or I guess like sequels to the Until Dawn game. Maybe I don't know what the best way to call that is. And they're just kind of like random horror games for the stream, I guess.
Yeah, those look really awesome.
Yeah, super fun. It's kind of like choose your own adventure story, horror theme. Pretty good. And then Visage is the one that I kind of keep coming back to. I don't know if you've ever seen it. So it's a horror puzzle game.
Okay.
I would say that it's actually okay. So also like warning is it's like immediately graphic, like insane, incredibly graphic. It's also really difficult, which is cool. I kind of like sometimes, not all the time, but I kind of like when sometimes a game like just assumes you're smart and doesn't like give you the benefit of the doubt, and it's just like, all right, like good luck, and they just kind of throw you into this house and you don't really know what to do and you have to figure it out. But like it's difficult, it's puzzle, and it's actually like scary.
Wow.
Which is cool because I don't get scared very easily. But they kind of give you this just impending doom feeling the entire game. And there's 4 chapters. Some of them are more difficult, some of them are more scary, and but they're all story based. Mm-hmm. And you kind of just walk around and have to figure stuff out. It's a lot of puzzles, but I've also seen people speedrun it.
What kind of puzzles do you usually do?
Well, so like you'll go around into a room and you'll have to kind of figure out like where things go or like how you get to like the next part. And what's interesting about the game is it doesn't like it's not like very linear in like the way that it all takes place in a house, but the house changes depending on the story and depending on like where you are. And so like you'll figure out that, okay, you need to find this key to get into this door. You need to find this thing. So you kind of like are going around trying to figure out how to proceed the entire time.
Wow.
There's definitely parts where you can get frustrated, I think, first time, but it's also the stories are pretty good. So it's enough to keep you going. Plus on top of that, like when there's a jump scare, it's a legit jump scare.
Wow.
It's like one of the few games I would say that like does that just because of the general atmosphere I think that they give you. It's
That's
nuts.
Cool.
Yeah, it's so pretty cool.
Would you say like the puzzles are kind of, I don't know, have you played any of the Resident Evil games?
Yeah, kind of similar in a lot of ways. But definitely different gameplay wise. Like less action. It's not as like I played the Resident Evil 2 remake, which is awesome. Like great game.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like similar in terms of I guess like difficulty, things like that. But different. It's more puzzle heavy, I would say, even than that. Less, but then there's less action. There's definitely, if you are into action games, you will not enjoy Visage. But if you are into kind of like a compelling story, just general horror as like a medium, or I don't know, as a genre, then I could recommend it for sure. Also, I don't know. There's apparently, I don't know how big the community is, but there's apparently a speedrunning community. Someone in my chat was saying that they speedrun it.
That's cool.
Every time they basically just like kind of lurk Twitch and watch people play when they're not playing it. And then when they are playing it, they do it in like 2 hours.
Oh, that's cool.
Crazy like that. It took me longer than that, but it was mostly me just like sitting there angry, dying over and over again until I figured out that I'm just dumb.
Oh my God. So in terms of like graphics, would you say it's like pretty realistic?
Yeah, it's fine. I don't remember when it came out, so it's like probably, let me see, hold on. Visage game 2014, I want to say, something like that. No, 2018.
Oh yeah.
It's I mean it looks fine. It's definitely nothing like, it's nothing graphically that's gonna make you go like, whoa, but it's like the graphics are good, immersive, and like the biggest thing with it is just like your immersion. Like you feel like you're in this house. You feel like you're going insane the whole time.
Oh,
so it checks all the boxes.
Oh, that'd be terrible to play in fucking VR, man.
Oh, God, if you can play that in VR, that's got to be one of the scariest ones to play in VR.
Yeah,
easily.
I've really wanted to play that. What's that? Phasmophobia.
Oh yeah,
I played that in VR
the other night. Actually, I just retried it. They actually added some stuff to that game.
Did they? Oh, nice.
Yeah, they added another map. I think there's like another ghost. Like there was like a ring girl that crawled at me, which is pretty cool. That game's fun. If you got a squad of 4, I feel like that game is just a blast, like with your friends.
Yeah, I've heard so many good things about it.
Yeah, and I feel like that game would probably be even more fun. I haven't actually tried it in VR. I just tried it on PC, but you can crossplay. So if your friend is on VR, you can play on PC as well. And
that's cool.
Which is pretty dope.
I've seen some other guys play in VR, like in a squad of 4, and I'm like, dude, that looks so awesome.
Yeah, I feel like in VR it would be even more fun. I enjoy it just as is, but I can definitely see it being amazing in VR. Just because in general, just the more immersed you are in a game, like especially a horror game like that, the more fun they are. Because that's like my big issue. I didn't used to like horror games that much. But because I don't know, there were very few that I was like, okay, I'm scared. But then I realized, like, if you go in with the right attitude and the game does a decent job at like giving you a decent story or giving you puzzles or like making actually concentrating on the gameplay as opposed to just like jump scares, then there are some good games out there.
It's also a bonus if you physically shit yourself, then you don't know if you actually shit yourself when you're playing.
The headset's on, nothing outside of it matters. Wallow in your filth.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I need a VR headset. I've played on with other people's, and I actually don't own one, but I really want it.
Yeah,
they're awesome.
Yeah, they are great. I have the Valve Index. I know that's a little pricey to spend, I think, for like a first headset.
Yeah.
You know, to know if you like, I mean, I'm sure you would love it anyway, but
yeah.
I love it. I love the Index for like the controllers, you know, like the finger tracking and the I think the visuals on the Index are probably the best, and well, not the best. I mean, there's some that have slightly better resolutions, but with the tracking and stuff, you have the beacons. It's got like a full 360 Whereas like I just bought the kids the Quest 2 for Christmas.
Yeah.
And you know, like I used to have the Rift S, which is very similar. It's got the inside out tracking where it's got the cameras on the outside of the headset. And it does a pretty good job. You know, like you notice sometimes if you raise your hands above your head too far, or if you put your hands down at your side, sometimes they do this weird like
yeah,
this weird thing. I don't know. It's like, you know, it has trouble tracking in that degree. But other than that, like it's, you know, for being a standalone headset, you know,
with one of those, you can also plug it into your PC, right? So like if you want to do Steam games, you can still do it. So it's kind of like a dual.
Yeah.
Does it improve the performance as well or no?
It does. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, because if you're running it just standalone, it runs it off of the I can't remember what kind of processor it uses inside the headset, but it's kind of more along the lines of like an Android processor.
Yeah, makes sense.
You know, right. And then so when you're plugging it into the PC, you're utilizing your GPU over that, you know. So but there is actually, I've been like doing some research, and it seems pretty easy to do, but you can actually download a program called Virtual Desktop, and I think it's called SideQuest. And this way you can actually stream your PC games to the headset and not have to be tethered. So you can still do it wirelessly altogether. You know, I'm sure you probably have to have like decent internet to
I'm sure
it work pretty well.
That's pretty cool.
But that's
I like the idea. Yeah, I like the idea, especially as like a first headset, of having one that you can, you know, keep. I mean, not like we're traveling too much in general anyway right now, but like I like the idea that I have one that I can play some Steam VR games, and then I can also take it, you know, upstairs and let the kids use it, and like they don't have to be trapped like to the one room. So I like that kind of, I guess, versatility of it. So that's kind of like where I was thinking for my first one, to see how I like it.
I would say, definitely the Quest 2 is a great option. You know, I love that you can do wireless, wired. You can, you know, it's just got like a lot of great options, and it's good. It's a good first headset for like user-friendly usability. You know, like it walks you through everything. You know, that was the one thing I liked about having the Oculus Rift S as my first headset. It's just like, you know, it's just super simple.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of good games that you can play, you know, on the Oculus store. You can also access the games in the Steam store. You know, it's just, it's a well-rounded headset, and, you know, even on its own, it stands pretty well against a lot of the other ones, you know, with resolution and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
Anything else you've been playing?
Yeah, I did a little bit more Cyberpunk. I'm still definitely not as far as you guys, but I did a couple more hours the other day.
Nice.
It's like kind of my chill, like hang out and revisit. I believe it got an update.
Yes. Yeah, I was gonna save that for the news.
Okay,
I think
no worries.
Update 1.1, I think, is what it was.
Yeah.
How are you enjoying it so far?
I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, it's I definitely don't think I'm like as obsessed as a lot of people are with it, but it's just pretty solid. I'm as I said last time I was on the stream, I am lucky with my build and PC, so like I haven't had major performance issues or anything like that. So I just have so far been, with the exception of a few glitches here and there, like I've had a mostly positive experience with it.
Oh, that's good.
And when I'm not streaming, I kind of, you know, rock that out a little bit if I'm not doing stuff, which is cool.
That's awesome.
It's a blast.
So the other games you've been streaming, right?
Yeah, pretty much everything I've been doing lately, I've been streaming. I'm in kind of like a funk in terms of like a main game to play, which is fine because like I luckily kind of rebranded my stream from like a shooter or a competitive card game streamer into like a just variety in general, which is good. So when I get into like a rut where I'm not super excited about any like streaming any game,
the wild card.
I just like, all right, I'm just gonna start it up and figure out what I'm doing, and then hopefully
it's like Chatterbait. You never know what you're gonna get.
And that's kind of why that's why I like I've been doing like horror games are just easy to stream, I feel like, and people enjoy watching them, so I've been doing that a lot. The like Man of Medan or Medan, I don't know how to say it, to be honest, or Little Hope, like those are pretty cool for chat interaction, just because it's like a choose your own adventure. So, and then they go through the story, and Jack can kind of be like, no, do this, don't do this, no, do this. And then like when I do something wrong and accidentally get a character killed, they can rage at me. It's great. It's just, it's fun.
That's amazing.
I don't know that for any normal person playing the game, just sitting there, hanging out. Like, I don't know if it's worth the money, to be honest. Because I think we were talking about this before we were before the podcast, but they're good. They're good graphically. They're great. They have like huge actors in it. Like you'll recognize people, be like, wait, I know that guy. I've seen that movie. But then like the game itself, I think I did the first playthrough in like 4 hours for Man of Medan. Little Hope, I think, was around the same as well. And it's like, okay, well, $30 for 4 hours. And then you have like Cyberpunk, which is double the price. And like, how many hours have you played a Cyberpunk right now?
Almost over 200.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it's just like, okay, so if hours of gameplay is like a major thing that you care about, is it worth $30? I can't say 100% that it is, right, to be honest. But if you get your hands on it,
get with the game,
And honestly, it's not even like for what the games are. I think they do a really good job, and they are very good to look at. They're very polished. They're very clean. Like they're just like good games, but it's kind of easier to maybe do a lot of that polish when there's not really that much gameplay. Like you kind of walk around a little bit and like find stuff, but overall it's, just kind of a story that you're playing through. And if the most important thing to you is the story, then they're great. Then I could say you should probably try it. Yeah. But in terms of gameplay itself, I don't know if it's worth it, but I enjoy them. So it is worth it for me. But I can't say like 100% like VileShrew recommended game. No, not necessarily.
His stamp of approval.
but that being said, I do think there are plenty of people that would enjoy it. And plus, like the one that I wish there was some way to port over is Until Dawn, which was the first one they made, just because I think that format just works so well for like, it's like a slasher version, and that format works so well for kind of choose your own adventure, get with the characters, see what happens, make decisions.
And I think I could be wrong, but is there co-op or something?
Yeah. So I was trying to do that the other day, but I haven't done it yet. But I know like Man of Medan and probably Little Hope too. I didn't check with that one, but I know you can kind of play like a 2-player co-op story, and then you get like different scenes that you haven't seen before in the first one. Oh, that'd be really cool. I actually have not tried that yet. I was thinking for a second playthrough, I tried to do it without getting a single person killed.
Nice.
That's my goal, and I think like that's the idea. Maybe is that like the game itself, maybe the game itself. Your first playthrough, you're probably going to get someone killed just because some of the decisions aren't super clear, and like they do that on purpose.
Yeah.
But
you start to learn your way.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like because like what decisions you made that you messed up, and you try and do stuff and see if you can change relationships. So it's definitely got replayability. So I think maybe that's the idea. Is like, you can, you can run through the game in 4 hours, but then you can go back and change the story. But my issue is that there's not enough, for me personally, there's not enough gameplay to make me 100% want to replay it, right? Like I got the basic idea of the story. I got a pretty good line of whatever it is. And I'm sure there's other content that I missed, but, and I will play it again, but even still, if I play through it again, that's 8 hours. Right. So a little better, but it's also the same story. And there's probably only so many times that I'm going to do it, unless like, you watch it and you're like, it's the best story I've ever seen. But that would be a bold statement because there are some like amazing stories in games. And I mean, like, see Cyberpunk. I think that's like one of the main reasons why that has such a cool balance, where there is a lot of gameplay. There's a ton of stuff you can do, but then also it's got a pretty dope story in the background. And it's not even the background; it's the foreground. It happens right in front of you. So, and
it's kind of similar to like Fallout, in the sense where you can, if you wanted to go through for a second or third playthrough, you can totally change up your character play style 100%. And all that kind of stuff. So it offers a lot of replayability in that respect.
Yeah, totally. But I mean, it's cool. I enjoy those two games. I think if you are like a streamer, I think it's a great game to play with your stream because it's a cool story. You know, there's a lot of like opportunities for chat interaction, which is like a big important thing for me. It's kind of why I stopped streaming. I used to play CS:GO mostly.
Yeah.
CS:GO is a little bit better because you have downtime, but shooters like, for me personally, shooters like Battlefield or Call of Duty, where like you're like mostly playing the whole time, there are definitely people that will watch that. But for me, my stream personally, I've definitely put chat interaction at the forefront. So me playing a game like that, it's kind of harder for me to stay on top of chat, right? And like really talk to people and like hang out.
Because you're focusing on the gameplay.
Yeah, which is fine. And I think it's good to do that. And I think that's why there are streamers who do that and do it well. But it becomes more about like the gameplay itself, which is fine. Again, like I'm not saying that it's wrong to do that. I'm saying for me personally, like I've definitely tried to, when I'm streaming, play more games where I can interact with chat. And then off stream, I'll usually play games where, you know, if I want to play a shooter, would I play one of those things? I do it. Not that I haven't streamed shooters though. I started off as like a CS:GO streamer basically. So, and that one's a little bit better for chat interaction in general too, because it's when you die, you have like time in between rounds to talk and stuff. But yeah, that's usually when I mostly play all the newer games when I'm streaming, with the exception of occasionally I'll see a game like Cyberpunk or something like that and be like, this is going to be a game I just kind of want to chill out and do on my own.
Yeah.
In silence in my underwear, you know?
It's the only way to do it, really. That's awesome. Yeah, I've been playing Cyberpunk 2077 up until probably last week. Like I just started playing Yakuza Kiwami, which is
I still haven't played that.
Yeah, Kiwami, I think, is the first game in the series, but then, you know, they came out with, I think it was later on, they came out with Yakuza 0, which is a prequel, where you still play as the same character. I think his name is Kiryu Kazuma. And so he's part of like this, you know, Yakuza clan, and in this small city called Kamurocho in Tokyo. And there's a lot of really cool, like, woven stories into this small city. And yeah, for the longest time, I've heard so many good things about the stories. The combat's really well done. And yeah, like, it's like, at first I was like, well, this, you know, it's like this is Kiwami is also the remaster. They did a remaster of Kiwami, of the first game and the second game. And yeah, so at first, like, I got into the city and I was like, this is a really tiny map. Like, is this it really? But as I've just been like roaming around, like, you find like random interactions with, like, you know, some of the NPCs in the world. And it seems like I'm getting the feeling that everybody is trying to fucking scam you. Like, there's like one part I'm like walking down this alley and, you know, this guy's like kneeled down and I hear like a crack of glass or something. And he's like, you cracked my contact lens. I got that from Germany. And, you know, you're gonna have to pay me 2 million yen or something like that. And you're just like, you can offer to pay them, or you can just be like, no, I'm not paying that. And then you have to fight them. And then you like beat their ass. And then they'll be like, sorry, I'm never doing this ever again. Yeah. You know, it's like, it's just funny.
You just taught that man a life lesson. Like,
yes, you know,
if you're
like,
gonna scam someone, make sure they aren't a gangster.
Yeah, it's just, you know, there's a lot of really funny, like,
what happens if you pay it? Just like, thanks, and then you just lose your money, and then you're the one learning the lesson.
They probably end up doing it to somebody else.
Dude, what if they made like a Times Square New York simulator where like you just go through and it's just like people offering you like comedy tickets and stuff, and you just buy everything, and you're just like, at the end you're just like, okay, well, you didn't make it. Like,
you got homeless guys that are just like taking money, and then they end up like pulling off their jacket, they walk around the corner to their Benz.
Yeah, and then you like walk by there, someone's like trying to sell you their music CD, and they're like, you take it, and they're like, no, you give me $5, and you're like, oh, okay, and you have like hand them $5. And then like you eat at the Olive Garden at the end, and then it's like everything smaller portions and more expensive. Just Times Square Simulator. I'm gonna make it.
Perfect. Yeah, I think basically it would be this game except in English.
Yeah, then you could do spin-offs of all like the major cities where it's just like walking through the most tourist trap part of every city. Game could be called Tourist Trap, the series.
Dude, I love this. You need to make this happen.
It's just like the most rage-inducing game you can find.
Why is everybody trying to rip me off? You're like, well, I mean, that's kind of the point of the game. You bought into it. That was also a scam.
That was also a rip-off. The game's $100 for 4 hours of content.
Yes. See, this is, I think,
just like a straight-up meme game.
You thought Man of Medan was bad. Tourist Trap is the worst.
Oh my goodness. Just calling the game like Tourist Trap, and then just the whole game down to the price being a trap is just ultimate meme developer.
Oh my god.
Some developer, please steal that idea because that's hilarious to me.
We won't even sue you if you steal it. We will applaud you.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That'd be pretty funny. I don't know. I feel like I would find that hilarious. There's been a couple meme games.
Really?
Like, I don't know. Yeah. Like do you remember Goat Simulator?
Yes. Oh my god.
Yeah. Like I feel like that game was 100% started out as a meme, and then then people bought it, and they were like, "Oh, we got to make content."
Yeah,
it's basically. I feel like how that happened. I don't know 100%. I wasn't there, but I feel like that's how that happened. People were like, "Goat Simulator, nice."
Yeah, the funny shit you can find in that game is
it's
just
ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Yeah. But yeah, so again. Yeah, it's basically Tourist Trap, the game.
Cool.
But the
I've heard the game Yakuza. Like I've heard that everybody who I know who has played those games love it.
Yeah, it does really nail down, I think, the experience of, if you can get past like the Japanese dialogue and it's all English subs or whatever. I think if you can get past that, which I mean I have no problem. I watch like subtitled movies or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it really captures that. I think it takes place it starts out in like 95. Kiwami Zero, I think, takes place in the 80s. It just captures that perfect essence of, the Yakuza, the mafia of Japan, and like how like they really have that order and respect in mind with each other, and obviously there's still like people who are like, no, fuck you, like, I don't care who you are, like you're not gonna fucking tell me what to do. But the higher ups, they expect you to respect them, they want you to kneel down to them, kind of thing, and there is like some other like Japanesey, like sort of overdone anime-esque kind of like
dope
animation, or not animation.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Characters, you know what I mean?
It's like eccentric side characters and stuff.
Yeah, like
color the story a bit.
Exactly. In this game, there's one character, his name is Majima, and he's always trying to fight you. He has to find some reason to fight you because he knows like you're called the Dragon of Dojima, and so he's like, and in the very beginning, like you refuse to fight him, and he's like, I will find a reason for you to fight me. So then, like, as you're going through the game, like, he'll be, like, popping out of, like, random fucking nooks and crannies of the city and being like at one point, he's dressed up as a cop and he's like, do you have any weapons on you? And he pats you down. And if he finds weapons on you, he's like, aha, I'm going to fight you now. And he's just like, what?
I had a roommate like that. So
he's just like trying to sideblind you.
I wake up, he's standing over me like it's time for battle.
You're like,
what are you talking about? I'm just trying to take a shower, bro.
Coffee and breakfast, dude. Like, chill out.
Yeah, man.
Oh my god. Yeah, but that shit's hilarious. Like when he just pops out, and some of the random shit that happens in that respect is just like, it's just great.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So,
I
should probably try that game. I've been looking for a cool like kind of story type game to play, and I feel like that's a good one.
And good news because Kiwami or Yakuza 0, Kiwami, and Kiwami 2 currently are on Game Pass.
Nice.
For free. Like
that's
you can
pretty dope.
download them, play them.
How much is Game Pass? Would you say it's worth it?
Yeah. I think it's probably one of the best deals in like digital gaming subscriptions.
Yeah.
Because I think I pay $10 a month for it.
Yeah.
But there's like they're always adding games. It's kind of like Netflix, you know, they're adding games, they remove games. And I think I added it later into the podcast for the releases, but I mean, I guess I'll just mention it now too. Is the other, I think Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 are also getting added on the 28th.
Nice. If you're in the middle of a game and it's going to end, will they let you know with some time in advance? Like, how does that work?
You know, I've never actually had that issue come up. Yeah. And I wonder if like, I think if you still have it installed, then it might still let you play it. Yeah, but I think once you uninstall it, like, and they remove it, then you can't get to it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I would imagine that.
I hope so.
Because they'll just suck your like.
You're just like you get really into a game, and then like halfway through, it's just like, and it's done.
Now you gotta pay $99.99 to play the rest of it.
Oh no!
You're like, I had 1 minute left.
Like right as you get to it's like 3 a.m. or whatever it is, but when they like change it over and you're like right at the end, you're about to find the big reveal and it's just like, and you're done. That'd be the most like corporate, the most corporate, like that's exactly what should happen, by the way, with our Times Square game, dude. Like as you're walking through, like all of a sudden, like towards the end, it starts to develop like actual content in the story, and like we make it riveting enough there they want to find out what happens, and then it's like cool, and then it's like loot boxes. Right after that, you can pay loot boxes to get the rest of the story, and
also,
then you probably
pay a monthly subscription.
Just go full out scam.
Oh my god, this is great.
Yep, and also it has like a very, very invasive anti-cheat, even though
it slows down your computer. You know, it's the worst, but the best.
Yeah, I feel like if you were upfront with it, I do think that people would still buy it and like stream it just because, just for the ultimate rage.
It would be a meme game, just like Code Simulator.
There's someone out there who will be like, this is hilarious. I need like.
Oh my god, we need to make this happen. So I've been having fun with the Yakuza, still playing Cyberpunk. I have not tried out the new update that was released just yesterday or the other day. I've been playing Risk of Rain 2 with my brother. We've been doing like co-op runs and stuff, and it's got a really great modding community out there.
Yeah, a lot of my friends buy that. I know.
It's, you know, the first couple times I jumped in with him, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, but it didn't really like catch me. And then after like a couple runs, I was like, wow, I see the gameplay loop, and this is actually really fun. You know, it's just a great game. You're just running through and like, you know, killing all these creatures and monsters on these different worlds and stuff. And you know, the graphics are really well done with like the kind of cel shaded kind of look to it. But again, like the modding community, like it adds like you're able to add some other stuff that you weren't quite able to do before, because it is a roguelike. But it's you don't really have like any character progression. That was the only thing I think that maybe they need to add, which I think they're adding some more content. I think around summertime or something. But yeah, so we added some mods that allow you to actually, you know, have some stuff carry over. So you have some sort of skill progression in a sense. And then we also added a mod that allows you to collaborate. Like, so there's like random pickups, you know, that are like power ups or whatever. And we actually added a mod that allows you to share. So whatever he picks up, they go into my bin. Yeah. So then we're building this like combined power in a sense. And it's just like, yeah, it's still like incredibly hard, and there's still like some cheap shots here and there, where just getting killed and you're like, fuck. But then we also added like a revive type of shrine that you can revive once per level. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. A modding community in general and for games, it's like pretty cool how much people know and can do when you have like people who are passionate. They can just do it themselves. They're like, this game needs this, and they're like, cool, I'll just make it.
Yeah.
Have you tried Hades out of curiosity?
I have actually. Yeah. I've been meaning to jump back into it. I hear from everybody and other podcasts I've been listening to. Everybody's like raving about Hades, and I did really enjoy what I played. And some of their other games like Bastion that they've made, excellent games. I love the art style. I love the like the narration and everything, and the characters, the way they develop them are like so well done. For like an indie game, I don't even know if I would consider it an indie game. It's like what
well, it seems like from what I've watched,
it's overused a lot.
Yeah, I haven't actually played it, but I've watched a little bit of it. It definitely seems like a very pretty, like polished looking game in general as well. I have a friend who actually didn't like it at first, and I have seen him do a complete 180 the longer he like sat in there, and now it's like he loves it. He's obsessed with it.
I think you have to let Hades kind of sink into you a little bit.
Yeah. Well, because he was telling me like the way it works, like it's a roguelike, I guess, kind of. But he was saying it's very different in certain ways. I forget exactly what he told me, but if you like that style of game, everyone seems to be recommending it.
Yeah, I definitely would check it out. I think when I first jumped in, I think it was still in its like beta phase. It was still in early access. Yeah, they were adding stuff to it. And then I started playing it right when it came out again. And so like it seemed like they added a bunch of stuff to it, and it was a little more polished. So yeah, I need to go back and kind of play into that a little bit more. Speaking of modding communities, I don't know if you have gotten into any of the Cyberpunk mods or anything.
Not yet.
There is some actually, like if you find some issues along the way, which I'm sure you will. It's kind of inevitable, even on PC. There's some really cool, I think, mods that make your experience a little bit smoother. Like I think I mentioned it on the last podcast where I had added some there was some mods for like the driving to make it feel a little more cohesive, a little more like sticky, I guess you would say. Because I noticed like trying to like take a break around a turn, you end up like sliding into 10 people, and then you got the cops after you.
The driving, I've definitely noticed that with the driving.
Yeah, so there was there's a really cool mod that I use. It was like called realistic driving, and it just makes it so much more tolerable than it was before.
Nice.
So yeah, I would look on like the Nexus Nexus mods. You can find some really cool ones that I think will apply to you or whatever. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely something to check out. I mean, it's nice to have that modding community there when, like, obviously, I know the devs are working on updates and things like that, but it's nice to have kind of like an intermittent fix from the community to help out, in between. So
totally.
So let's get into the news. And speaking of Cyberpunk, I wanted to mention, the patch, and there's a photo mode contest going on. And I think as of one of the last episodes that we did, it was supposed to have ended already, but it looks like I think they extended it now. So now it ends January 31st. And then winners are going to be announced on February 28th. And kind of the stipulations, there's like three different photos that screenshots you can take and post on your social media, Twitter, whatever. And I think so you can do a portrait focusing on V or any other character from the game, an action shot showing off dynamic moments of the game, such as fights, jumps, car chases, etc. And then the third third one is sights, taking in the best views from the game and architecture of Night City. Cannot be edited outside of the game's photo mode, and no stickers. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. I posted mine up. And I've looked at a bunch of other people's, and I'm like, well, I don't know that I'm gonna win. There's so many.
All of my pictures that I've taken are like me doing ridiculous things. So like it's like I did, but it's mine are always I'm trying to be funny. So it's like there's one of me like stepping on someone's head to like grab a coffee cup or something that's on top of a shelf. So it's like my foot is like it's like my dude in like full action posed, like whoa, and then the foot is just like on top of like this like half naked girl. And then my dude is like he's just like reaching, and then like if you look in the angle, you can tell I really want this coffee cup, and like that's probably my best one.
Oh my god!
Yeah. I had a lot of fun with that photo mode.
Yeah, it's
I spent like a decent amount of time trying to get these just ridiculous shots, and like the poses and things you can change are pretty cool.
Yeah, they did a really good job, I think, with the photo mode. It's definitely one of my favorites. There was a bunch of like ridiculous ones that I got too. Like there was an action shot that I got where I was driving down the side of a dam.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I ended up like hitting the edge of the wall, like on top of the dam. I hit the wall and then came down and was driving like sideways down the wall of this like huge dam. And so I got some like really cool shots of like, showing the motorcycle driving along the wall, and you can see kind of the cityscape in the background. I was like, that's fucking awesome. Like, it would just be cool to just have like an attack chopper just like coming over the the dam or something. Just make it perfect. There was also another one where I like slammed head on into this. There was like these gang members like harassing this lady, kind of off like on this side street or whatever. And I got the shot just as I slammed my motorcycle into the dude's chest.
Oof.
And so it was like, and so I had like the back tire was in like hitting his chest. Dope. And the guy's like flying backwards. This other lady, that like one of the other gang members, she was like flying off to the side. And then you see this other guy, he's like a construction worker. I don't know. He's like, holy shit. It was just like, whoa, that like, I got some really cool ones. There were some other ones
where
like,
action shot, love it.
Yes, yeah, exactly. There was like some other really cool like black and white ones that I took where where it was like decapitating enemies with a katana.
Nice.
And you see like the head flying off and the blood's kind of like strewn into the air. It's just art, man. Love that gore.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, so yeah, there was, I love what I did with my photos and stuff, but there were some like excellent ones that I saw that people posted on Twitter and stuff. So yeah, I think you just have to post it with hashtag Shutterpunk is what it is.
Nice.
Yeah, so yeah, you guys still got some time to do that. The patch 1.1, I'm not gonna list off everything in the patch because there was a lot of stuff that it looked like they were fixing between PC, consoles, current and next gen, as well as Stadia and all of that stuff. So you can check it out, and you can check it out on Cyberpunk .net with like their news and stuff. They have it all posted on there. But basically it's just like a recap. It says Cyberpunk is now available on PC, consoles, and Stadia in this update, or patch 1.1. In this update, we are focused on various stability improvements, which you can find outlined in the patch notes below. We will continue this work in patch 1.2 and other upcoming updates. At the same time, we'll keep fixing the bugs and that you encounter and listening to your feedback on how to improve the overall game experience. So yeah, I think one of the last episodes I talked about, there was kind of like a roadmap that they laid out. So I guess like, yeah, in the next coming weeks, they're going to be doing patch 1.2. And I think they said, I think sometime this year, they're going to be doing the extra DLC content to be released. And then also the multiplayer, which, some people have been talking about lately. I don't know. I don't know that I'm super excited about the multiplayer. Like I'd rather have them focus on fixing the game. But I think that was kind of their point, is they're gonna, they want to fix the game first and then come out with a lot of this extra content. Which I'm glad that they came out and said that, because I think we all know that we want them to focus on the single game and get that experience smoothed out first. So. Take care of it, CD Projekt Red. We believe in you. But I just want you to know we're all counting on you.
Yep.
So yeah, the next bit of news. There's this first feature film from Rebellion Film and TV is coming out with a movie called School's Out Forever. So this is being released digitally on February 15th. 2021 and on Blu-ray April 12th, 2021. This is, I don't know, I find this interesting because, this studio Rebellion has been known for, the Sniper Elite games. They also came out with a Judge Dredd game back in 2003, Dredd versus Death. And it's just really interesting because they've never heard anything about them doing any sort of movie or TV sort of studio. But they, the Sniper Elite games I love. They're excellent. But the School's Out Forever game looks pretty interesting. It's kind of post-apocalyptic, like the world's ending and these kids get trapped in this school in the UK and they have to like fight off everybody. It looks pretty awesome.
Nice.
But apparently, the last couple of years, I was, doing a little bit of research, and the last couple of years has been talks of a TV series of Judge Dredd in the universe called Dredd Mega City 1. And it's also being worked on.
No. Uh-oh.
You're right?
Yeah, sorry, man. I have like a weird like connection spike. We're good.
So it seems like Rebellion has been very busy lately. They announced that recently in the last couple of months, they announced that the story for Dredd Mega City 1 TV series is written and ready to go. And have you watched the last Dredd movie?
No, I actually have not. But
it's actually watched it last night again, and I was like, because I wanted to remember what it was like, and it was excellent. If this game, the movie Dredd actually takes place in almost like a cyberpunk, over corporatized, city with like those mega buildings in cyberpunk. It's just got like that perfect aesthetic to it. And it kind of it shows a bit of the city, but then it kind of locks. It's got Carl Urban. He's been in a bunch of stuff. Yeah. But he plays as Dredd, and him and his partner end up getting locked into this huge mega city trying to take down this gang, and they get locked in there. They can't get any help. There's no communication or anything, and they have to basically survive. And it's just all out fucking action. It's great. Brutal as fuck.
It sounds great.
Yeah. And what's cool is so Carl Urban is actually for the last couple of years has been seemingly very eager to reprise the role in this TV series, trying to contact these guys. So yeah, I thought he did a really good job as Dredd, and it'd be super cool to see something else Dredd related come out of this. Yeah, so totally. Hopefully that gets capitalized. Speaking of capitalizing on fans' interests, Microsoft is increasing the cost of Xbox Live Gold. Dude, this is ridiculous. So it basically like that segue.
Yeah, very nice. Pro transition.
Thank you. So apparently it brings it to $10.99 per month, $29.99 per 3 months, and $59.99 for 6 months. Previously, it was $59.99 per year.
Cool.
Dude, this is
the classic double the price move.
Yeah. What? This is a what the fuck moment. Seriously? This is just, it's really weird, I think, coming from Microsoft, considering that Microsoft has kind of been on the side of the fans and their player base being we're here to support you no matter what do. We don't care if it was meth. It's fine. You know what I mean? We just want you to be having fun.
Yeah, I mean, like, I always try to see like both sides of it. Like, it is a business, right? And we understand that. And like, are they really on their side at the? Not really. Like, they're on our side enough to like, as long as we keep giving them money, right? But yeah, it's a big jump. That's not like it's not even a subtle like little like, hey guys, we're raising it $5. Right. Which is normally how they do that. Like, so like normally if your plan is like, okay, in like 3 years we need this thing to be like $60 per year. So we're gonna like casually raise it each time until like they're just like, nope, going for it.
Yeah.
It's like, is Microsoft doing poorly? Like, is it?
Yeah. Well, that was like Xbox Game Pass when I first started paying for it. It was like $5, and then I ended up getting some sort of deal. They had like marked it down where it was like $1 a month for like a couple months, and then it went back up to $5. And then I think in the last couple months they raised it to $10. Like, yeah, okay, that's incremental. That's fine. Like, I can go from $5 to $10, but I'm not gonna go from $60 to, you know, $120 a year. Yeah. Like, are you kidding me? That's, I don't know. That's just messed up. I mean, so I'm going to get into a little bit of the details because it's a little bit of a gray area to me. Yeah. So basically it says, well, for now, if you can still purchase Xbox Live Gold memberships on Amazon for $60, and you can stack them up to 3 years. So, you know, if you want to get ahead of that a little bit, you know, that's like a good way to get that in. Do note though, if you have Game Pass Ultimate active, that you need to wait until that lapses before you can redeem the codes for those. Also, if you were previously subscribed member to Xbox Live Gold for 6 months and or 12 months, that the renewal price will not change, which also includes Xbox Game Pass Ultimate at no extra charge. So it seems like they're kind of aiming this more towards like newcomers to their ecosystem. And it's like, that doesn't really put a good image out there for people coming to Xbox. In fact, I think that's going to turn people to the other side.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, they must be losing money or something. I don't know. Like, I'm not sure. It just seems like such a big jump. Or maybe the goal is that they can now give you like, they can put out deals, you know, for the holidays, and they could be like, well, you know, it's $80 for the year, and they're like, wow, what a discount, when really it's like, you know, $20 more.
Like, wait a minute,
it was
they raised it.
It'd be like, oh, such a deal. I have no idea.
Yeah,
you're right though. I feel like new
complain
players
about it, maybe they'll end up rolling it back. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. It seems like that's definitely a very clear business decision. So I'm sure they have a reason for it. It just seems like, you know, usually the way to do that is incremental. You take like a slight hit at first, but then, like, you know, you don't lose your new fan base.
Yeah.
But I mean, that is the thing, you know, like, there are, at the end of the day, there are other options. And so I think like that'll dictate what happens in general.
Yeah, I guess we'll see in the future. I mean, like PlayStation has, I think it's like the PlayStation Now service, which is like their streaming. You know, there's certain games I think PlayStation 4 games you can download to play on the system directly, but other, you know, PS3 or whatever games that are streaming, and I think it's like $20 a month for that subscription, which it's like, I don't know, for a streaming service, I don't know that I would want to pay $20 a month.
Yeah, totally.
For that, you know what I mean? Right. So, and maybe that's like maybe this is Microsoft's way of like combating that. Like maybe Microsoft's like, oh, well, we can bring it up a little bit since they're charging so much for their other service.
Yeah, most likely that is what it is.
Yeah. So it's hard to say, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe we'll get deals for Christmas.
Yep, deals. I'm telling you, deals. That's what's gonna happen. Is they're gonna put, and the holidays are gonna be a deal, and it's gonna be like still higher than what they're charging now, but everyone's gonna be like, the narrative suddenly becomes like, oh, it's
50% off or whatever. And you're like, wait.
Now you get it for $60 a year.
Yeah, you're like, wait, I did that before.
Yeah, that's the way it used to be.
This isn't a deal at all.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's good for people who already have been subscribed. I don't think it's gonna.
Yeah, at least
them.
they're not like alienating their own, because that's when you'd see like all of the rage. But again, even like as a newcomer, it just like, I don't know, feels kind of bad. It just feel bad.
Yeah, doesn't. It's not a very inviting feeling.
No.
You're like, you can come in if you want to, but you should probably get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Okay, like, you pay 60, you pay 60. Hey, you 120 for you. Be like, wait, why? Yeah. Be like, well, I've never seen you before, so 120 for you.
Looking face.
Yeah.
You got some weird going on there. I don't like it. You give me a bad vibe. We're charging you double.
Thanks, Bill Gates.
Asshole. Oh my God. Oh, speaking of horror now, I wanted to get back to this. And we talked a little bit about Resident Evil. Did you watch any of the Resident Evil showcase or anything?
Not really, no, but I know of it and I know a lot of people talking about it.
Yeah, so I watched a little bit of I think it was like one of the trailers from the showcase, and it was just basically showing off the new Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 8. And apparently the demo is available on PS5. I don't know why it's not available. I guess it's going to be coming. Multi-platform demo is actually coming this spring for all the other platforms. The release of the game itself is going to be released on all platforms: PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X/S, Xbox One, PC on May 7th. So this demo is it's called The Maiden. So you play as a different character other than Ethan Winters, that was the main protagonist in Resident Evil 7. Mm-hmm. And Maiden is a separate experience. Let's see. And yeah, I don't know. The game looked pretty interesting. I personally, I don't know. Did you play Resident Evil 7?
I did not play a 7 so far. I'm going back through the remakes, and I'm early. Mm-hmm. And then back in the day, I played some like random Resident Evils a little bit, but I can't like speak super intelligently about them because I think I just played it here and there. And then I played some weird action one, and then recently was the first like real sit down experience on a Resident Evil game, and I did it I started it with the 2 remake.
Yeah, and that one was, I think, honestly the best. I haven't played Resident Evil 3, but I know a lot of people.
I've heard a lot of good things about that one. I was thinking of doing that next.
Yeah, there was some people saying I think it was a little shorter than they were expecting. There was some content that was kind of cut from the original Resident Evil 3 game. So that was a little bit disappointing. But the new one, I don't know, Resident Evil 7 I didn't really like personally because it was like a lot of, like enemies that you can't kill. Like you're just kind of trying to fight it off just to escape in a sense. Yeah. And I don't know, like personally I didn't really, I kind of wish they would kind of go back more to the roots like they did with Resident Evil 2 remake for Resident Evil 8. But it seems like, I don't know if they have like vampires or something like that. Like it looks amazing. It looks intense.
I feel like those games, all like visually, they look so nice. They're very, very good looking games.
Yeah. But, and I think the first person perspective, I think for 7 and 8 is a really cool touch too. Being a little more immersive is pretty cool. So I don't know. I'd probably be willing to try it, just to see how it is. But I guess we'll. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no. I was gonna say totally. I mean, like if there's going to be a demo on a platform I can play, I will do it.
Yeah, for sure. The others, I guess a lot of people were kind of a little peeved about the showcase because there's been rumors for a while about Resident Evil 4 remake. Yeah. And that seemingly was kind of missing from that showcase. The much rumored remake of Resident Evil 4 is reportedly seeing a partial reboot at Capcom, But there has been a change in development leadership after disagreements over its direction. I pulled this, I think, from it was either I think it was from IGN. So basically, VGC reports that per sources close to the project, core Resident Evil studio Capcom Division 1 has taken the lead on the project, with original developer M2 seeking its role reduced. The changes could apparently lead to a 2023 release date. The report explains that following a few project review, M2 was seen to be too faithful to the original game, with Capcom preferring that the remake takes inspiration from Resident Evil 4, but introduces new elements and features. The latter approach was taken in both the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes, with varying levels of fan response. M2 is said to have wanted to stick to the Resi 4 formula due to backlash against Resident Evil 3's changes, which saw portions of the original game entirely removed. Yep. So I think this is interesting because I don't know, a lot of people love Resident Evil 4. Like, that is by far, I think, one of the best in the series. It's kind of got a mixture of like the original Resident Evil games with like the zombies, but it's kind of has a different sort of take on it. So I mean, I don't understand why. What's the problem with kind of keeping to the original?
That just seems like it seems like a game developer or like not developer. It seems like the people are just being like, well, like, what's the point of making a new one if we're just gonna keep the same game? And then like people need more content, and it's like, well, maybe, but or maybe like the game was already so good that you can just give it like a graphic touch up and like make like if the new stuff is to be like experiencing on like current gen hardware, which is like way more advanced now. And just like, I don't know, I thought Resident Evil 2 did a really good job of that. And anything new that was in there was fine. Like, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, and like, it's kind of, when you have a game that it's like remaking movies too, right? It's like, but I mean, like, I that's a tough one because on the one hand, like with movies, on the one hand, you're like, well, they already have this other movie, so if you're not going to put your spin on it, what's the point of remaking it? But with gaming, it's a little different because sometimes, like, the vision that was there, they had like this good idea, and now like you have the technology. Like, look at Cyberpunk. Could you have done something like that years ago? No, not even close. No. Like the closest thing to it was what, like the GTAs, and even that. Look at the evolution of that. So like, when did the original Resident Evil 4 come out?
It was like, I think early 2000s.
Yeah,
I want to say.
Like, look at the huge difference of like what games are, what the capabilities. So I feel like, I don't know, you keep the story, you keep like some of the ideas, and I think there is a balance. Like, you can definitely add like new stuff to make it fresh, and but also. It's also, though, a way for like people who haven't played Resident Evil 4 to experience the game in like their current gen stuff
in its best form, right?
Yeah, in its like most modern form. Yeah, totally.
And I think that was, what I loved about Resi 2 remake.
Yeah,
was because I think it did exactly that. It kept all of the great things that made Resident Evil 2 awesome, but also kind of evolved some of it to be more modern, and also added some new stuff that people didn't quite remember being there, but also added to the experience to make it even a better game.
See, and I think that's the direction, like, as a fan, that's the direction I want, right? Like, I want basically like all the stuff that makes the original good, keep it, like, don't touch it. And then if anything, add more to it, but like make sure you're not adding just for the sake of adding. Like, it should all
gotta have
like
a good balance.
But like, you can find a balance. I feel like there is some type of balance, like some type of, compromise that they could make. But obviously, I guess if the reports are saying that there's like changing in directions and stuff, then apparently there was no compromise. But the compromise was you fired.
The fuck out.
So I don't know. I think it's an interesting kind of topic. But I think at the end of the day, I think it's pretty universal that Resident Evil 2 did the best job in terms of the remakes. Mm-hmm. So I feel like keeping that sort of formula probably will work.
Yeah, definitely. It's just kind of interesting that, like, you know, that Capcom has been kind of like, you know, kind of almost created like this parallel sort of thing. You know, they're creating new Resident Evil games. Yeah. You know, like with Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 8, and then, you know, they have like on the side, they're also doing like these remakes of the original that kind of like are, you know, revitalizing what made the Resident Evil franchise amazing to start with. Yeah. You know, totally. So I think that is so cool. So yeah, I guess we'll see what happens with Resident Evil 4 remake once it comes out. I can't wait. You know, it's gonna be awesome.
I feel like which one do you think would sell more? The newest one or the Resident Evil 4 remake?
I think probably Resident Evil 4 is gonna sell more.
I think so too. Yeah. It's kind of interesting, right?
Yeah, I think they both like that's what I'm saying. Like I think having both of these paths along you know, inside Capcom is almost like creating like two separate fan base.
Yeah.
Because I think they're like, because again, you know, like I said, like I didn't really care for Resident Evil 7, but I love the remake and what they did there. You know, it captured what was amazing about the original Resident Evil games. And that's cool, you know, like if you're more of a fan of like the newer like first person kind of experience there, like cool, man. Mm-hmm. Something to capture both fan bases or one or the other, you know. Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. And I think the last part of the showcase was let's see, was Resident Evil Reverse is what it's called. Capcom producer, I'm gonna fucking murder this. Tsuyoshi Kanda announced Resident Evil Reverse, a multiplayer experience that will be free to anybody who purchases Village. And I think Reverse will have beta tests for re-ambassadors soon. Be sure to check out some of the initial playable character reveals, gameplay, and more Reverse from the show. So I watched a little bit of, like, it was a gameplay trailer on that, and it just kind of showed like you playing as all these different characters within the universe, within like Resi 2 remake, Resi 3 remake, I think from Resident Evil 7, possibly Resident Evil 8, and it's like third person like Resi 2, and you basically can, you know, and I think you can use some of the maps from all of these games, and you kind of run around and shoot each other, you know, and I'm sure there's probably other sort of like, you know, sort of objectives that you can work together as a team to accomplish or whatever. So that, I don't know, that seems interesting. We'll see like what actually comes out of that, you know.
I don't know. I feel like back in the day, do you remember if there was like, it's not VR, but I feel like there was a Resident Evil, I think it was Resident Evil, maybe it's not, where like you could like sit next to your friend with like a gun. It was like a shooter almost, like with like a physical gun on the controller, and you kind of move around. Or is that not Resident Evil? In my brain, there was like some type of game like that.
Oh shit.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
It sounds so familiar, and I can't sure what it is.
I was thinking about it the other day, like when I was younger, and like I'm just trying to figure out how a multiplayer Resident Evil really like experience would it kind of play out, and if it would even be good. Because
that's my thought too.
Because when you think about what makes it good, it's not really like even necessarily like, yes, the goals, the puzzles that you have, the getting through, like figuring out like you have like a certain amount of bullets left and figuring out how to get through these zombies, like that's what makes the game good in a lot of ways. But also like you have this story that's captivating, you have a lot of stuff going on, and I feel like a multiplayer Resident Evil experience would be like, I don't know, I feel like that's a really tough thing to do right.
Yeah, I think from what it seemed like, like this Reverse seemed like it was like deathmatch, you know, like your typical kind of multiplayer experience. I don't know that a lot's going to come out of this, and it reminds me of like, I don't know if you remember, it was probably more than a couple of years ago, but they came out with, it was Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City, which was it was all multiplayer experience.
Yeah, that's right.
And you play as like these SWAT guys, and you have to like work together. And I heard it didn't do very good at all, really.
Yeah, it doesn't. Just like
it's like let's do it again. I want the same idea we did last time. But we're gonna change the color of the NPCs.
But this time it's gonna work.
Yeah.
What's the definition of insanity again? Like
doing the same thing, expecting different results.
Like listen, the formula works because Call of Duty is really popular. So basically, we just do it. It's like, okay.
I hope it is not that. I hope that's not the case, but
yeah, it would be cool if there is sometime if they can figure out a way to like make that work. Because I actually love like a good co-op experience. Right. And when a game has something like that, it's actually really fun to be able to sit with your friends and do something really cool like that.
I would love to see something like like Left 4 Dead meets Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Where like you have to like you get overwhelmed by a bunch of zombies, you gotta have to like move into the next room, you gotta board it up and like kind of lock yourself in there, and like counting your bullets and being like, all right, I only have like this, I have this much left in my magazine. How much ammo do you have? Do you need an extra magazine? Like share supplies to help each other through surviving, and like that I think would be an excellent experience to have within like a multiplayer or co-op.
I feel like or I don't know how possible that would be to do, but like even just doing like if there was like a Resident Evil 2 way to do something, or like something like one of those styles of games where you literally can just play through the whole game with like a friend. Where just remake, I think, dude, how cool would that be? Like you already have the two characters, but then you just do them at the same time. You can both like strategize and go through different rooms, and like it'd be super fun. And then you still have like the same story going on and experience the story together. I feel like that would be super dope.
To do something like that, but I think it was like one of the Gears of War games did a really good job of that, where like you would work together and like you're doing co-op and you're fighting side by side, and then there might be something within the story that splits you up, and now you have to go alone for a short period of time, and then you have to make it back and figure out how to get back to the other person.
Yeah.
Like I think something like that wouldn't be too difficult, but would also be a really cool experience doing co-op. So you kind of like, you still kind of have your own experience.
Yeah.
Totally. Once you get split up, I think that would be really cool.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. We'll see if Capcom heard our cries.
Nope. Death match.
Death match.
Or it's like just turns into like Marvel vs. Capcom out of nowhere. It's just like, oh, okay. I'm Mr. X, dude.
Or oh god. Jeez.
He's just OP, dude.
It's probably gonna be either like deathmatch or like capture the spleen instead of capture the flag. Oh man, yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff rumbling around within Capcom. So, next bit is Gabe Newell from Valve says in this report that I think I've also pulled this from IGN. Says that Valve has more games in development and they're waiting to be announced. So, an interview with New Zealand's One News, Valve boss Gabe Newell has said that multiple games are in development at the studio and are waiting to be announced. The Valve co-founder has been staying in New Zealand during COVID-19 pandemic after taking a vacation there following the launch of Half-Life Alyx. We definitely have games in development that we're going to be announcing. It's fun to ship games, he says. Then asked about future games coming out of Valve. Valve has developed and subsequently canceled a lot of games in the past, including several versions of Half-Life 3. The fact that Newell specifically says these new games will be announced suggests a shift from the company's recent history of being reticent to release new software. Famously, Valve revealed Half-Life Alyx in November 2019 and then launched it in March of 2020. Newell's explanation that Valve is going to be announced, these games could suggest that we may even hear about them soon. So this is really exciting. I mean, we already got, Half-Life Alyx, on PC, VR, and stuff like that. I'm really curious to see what they have in store. I would love to see Portal, be revitalized, or I know there's a new Left 4 Dead, kind of on its way out.
That looks
Back for Blood.
Yeah, that looks dope. It looks really good.
Yeah, and I believe that's the original team who worked on the original Left 4 Dead 1 and 2.
I have high hopes for that, but we'll see.
Yeah, just watching that gameplay. I mean, it was cool to see that you're not just shooting from the hip like you were before. It was like you can actually aim down the sights like a proper shooter. Like, yes, this is like modern shooting now. Like, let's get that in there. It looked pretty awesome. But I think it's just I watched a lot of videos and like interviews, and I watched, there's like a really cool documentary sort of thing on Steam that you can buy for like $10, and I think it's called The Last Steps of it was like, or no, the Final Steps. And it's basically a documentary from like the beginning of Valve leading up to Half-Life Alyx. And like how they kind of gathered their team and everything. And it is cool to see that like Valve is kind of like, they're excited to get back into making games again.
Yeah.
Like that was what they started at. That was their roots, and
I mean,
yeah,
that would be nice. I mean, that's like one of the things I think that's undervalued is like the more excited, like even like the dev teams are, usually the better the game. Overall, like you can tell when they have passion about a game or when they're just crapping it out, right? Like here's a good example. I started randomly playing Madden again, and I hadn't bought a Madden or like really a sports game in general for like years. So I like immediately, so I actually find like, I know there are people who buy it every year and complain, but like, so at first I was like, oh, this is great. Like there's all this new stuff, all these things. And then like a lot of the same issues that I had like, 8 games ago, all are still there. And like, just like little things. Like, I mean, it's definitely a good experience for me because the last one I bought was like on my PS2. And then now I'm buying like the newest gen, right? So it's like, oh, cool. Yeah. It looks way better. But you can tell that like they're like, okay, we have an engine, it works. All we have to do is update a roster, and we can just hash out a game and sell it for $60, and people will buy it.
They literally took the same game from original Nintendo and put it into the new game engine.
and they don't have to do anything different because no one else can make an NFL game. Right. So like they have like an exclusive contract with that. So they're just like, cool, we'll just do this over and over again. And you can just tell there's no passion in the game. Like there's like the things that they care about are things to get you. And I mean, that's just EA, I guess. But so it's much nicer when you see, even if it doesn't happen as often, like, I've like, when was the last time? I guess, okay, you have Half-Life Alyx with Valve, right? But you don't get, I don't know, it's sorry it's I have hopes that they become human beings again.
yeah I agree. It's just I remember some of the interviews with the guys from Half-Life, working on Alyx. You can see the excitement from them, and how like Gabe Newell shot down all of the Half-Life stuff in the past just because they didn't have any interesting stories to tell. Like there wasn't a good enough reason to come out with a Half-Life game, and then they came out with Half-Life Alyx being in VR was the next innovation for them. Like they had always come out with a game when there was something interesting or new to do, being that like Half-Life 1 was like one of the best first person shooters to first come out, and then they came out with Half-Life 2 and they had the Source 2 engine, making it even better. And then but you can see, like playing Half-Life Alyx myself, like I can see where it kind of like it picks up this, it is a prequel but also kind of picks up the story in a sense where they left off from Half-Life 2, and you can see, like, I don't know, Half-Life Alyx was my game of the year last year.
Nice.
Because it was like, that was like the best thing in VR I could have asked for last year. It was like incredibly immersive. It was a full length game of like, it was like 15 to 20 hours for me to get through the story. And graphically was amazing. Sound design, like everything was just like so well done. And I would love to see them kind of like push that even further, push the envelope even further on that. And who knows? Maybe we will see Half-Life 3, or maybe they'll just call it something else because they don't want to do anything with the number 3. But I would love to see them continue that story on, or even do other things like, as I mentioned, like Portal was an excellent, set of games.
I love the Portal games, man. Those are great.
Yeah, like Team Fortress is also pretty cool. Like, I'm not huge into multiplayer online games, but it had a great art style and stuff.
Totally.
And then you have the Left 4 Dead and stuff. But it would, I don't know. And I'm not saying like it should all be VR either. Like, I mean, they should do what they feel is right.
Do you think Valve ever makes another Counter-Strike? Sorry, I don't know.
You cut out a little bit.
Do you think Valve ever makes another Counter-Strike, or do you think they just keep doing what they're doing with like CS:GO? I feel like they've gotten themselves into an interesting situation with the skins, because if they made a new, because the skins that they have with Counter-Strike have serious value at this point. Like I think like I actually just sold my CS:GO knife for like $600.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
They have a sorry, my son is like yelling in the background.
Oh, you're all right.
Okay.
We're friendly to an extent, minus
so they got themselves into this weird scenario, I feel like, where you have like this skin trade, this whole separate thing. There are people that don't even play CS:GO and just trade skins and like look for like rare, like they're just rare things because they have actual monetary value. And there's a whole kind of thing with gambling, and for a long time ago.
So how does that work? Like, if you were to sell it, you just take the code and you give it to somebody else?
So it's in trading, right? So what certain websites did is they had like bots basically on their site. So you sell it for cash, and then their bots trade it into like their system. So there were ways to like export it instead of just you can sell it for money, like Steam money, right?
Yeah.
But like you can't like pull out Steam money for cash, right? Or otherwise that's what people do. So you basically have all these third-party sites making a market, almost like a cryptocurrency or something like that, basically, right? You have these skins that are work because, like, if you say something has value, it has value. So you have these like rare skins where like that people want, and like the skins don't do anything for the game. It's a competitive shooter, right? They don't give you an advantage. It's just cosmetic,
right?
But
they're probably hard to get.
A while ago, the gambling scene actually kind of drove the value up. So you could bet on pro CS:GO matches. You could literally do like games. I think there's still betting sites, but you could do games on these sites like poker, jackpots, things like that. Like, and you put your skin inventories in and you get real monetary value. So like a while ago, before this was like kind of regulated, I made a $10 bet. I made $2,000 on like a 0.05 chance or something stupid like that.
Holy shit.
And then from there I was like, well, I'm going to keep gambling now. And I just like had this crazy inventory, like multiple $1,000 inventory. And like, since I stopped playing it as much, I've been like selling my skins and like offloading them. But
that is wild.
But it kind of puts them in an awkward position, in my opinion, because basically like they don't see the money from those third-party sites, but they're totally going off the value of these skins. So like Counter-Strike, Valve will totally update more skins all the time before they'll fix stuff in the game. Because it's just so you have like the loot crate kind of thing. You pay $250 to open a key, and you can open it, and they just make a ton of money. They have all this money coming in still from CS:GO, because of the value that people have put on these skins. But now if they were to make a new game and just crash that market, even though like that's what you in theory should want, right? But like it would be bad for a lot of people. They would lose a ton of money. But it's like I don't think Valve would care that much overall, but at the same time, it's like how do you just continue to update this game? Like, do you eventually try to port over your engine and keep all this stuff like that, or do you develop?
So that's my question. Game? I guess you know more about this than I do. Is basically that essentially the same engine that they've been using for years?
I believe so. I think there were rumors that they were going to put Source 2 is the new one, right? I believe there were rumors that they were maybe going to port that over to it, but I have no idea if it's on. I don't think it's on it right now. Okay. I mean, like that's the thing is it is a competitive game. It is polished. Like people still play it. But then
it still looks good.
You have competitors. Well, it looks okay. Like if you look at Valorant, which is like also a competitive shooter that basically like took the model of CS:GO and then added like abilities and whatever instead of the utility.
That's what I've heard.
It looks like I mean, Valorant looks visually it's way better. You can argue back and forth on which game's better, but they're functionally the same game in a lot of ways. Like down to like, spray control on your gun. They're both competitive shooters, 5v5. Like you have like they check all the things, right? So it's like I don't know how long until CS:GO kind of runs out, and then how much do they? I don't know how much do you put value on these skins that people have put value on as a developer? So it's kind of interesting. They're in like an awkward spot, in my opinion. But
I think it would almost be kind of cool, to see them even do like a CS:GO VR version.
Yeah.
There are some games out there
I think
that
they
are
have
similar.
a CS:GO VR.
Do they really?
Or something like that. I don't know how good it is, but I do think they have something like that. I feel like I've
seen, is another company, you mean?
I'm not sure. I feel like I've seen gameplay from it though. It's not the same game because that's the thing is like CS:GO is just a hardcore competitive shooter. That's what it is. It's what it's always been.
Yeah.
Yes, there are casual modes, but the main reason to play it is to play the competitive. At least for most people, and then some people like that surf or whatever. Like they do that usually on like the older CSs. But because of the skin thing, I don't know. So I believe it's not on Source 2 yet, but there's rumors of it coming to CS:GO. So I feel like that's what they're going to do, almost because of this value.
They probably could port it over to the Source 2 engine without messing up the whole market, I would imagine.
And I feel like that's what I don't know if that's better or that's worse or like because normally like this is about the time where you would start to see a new Counter-Strike game, right? So like if you look at like the in between like 1.6 Counter-Strike Source, CS:GO, it would be like around this time, maybe a little bit before, but I don't know. It's an interesting. It gives me hope when you say things like that. You've heard like Valve seems to be excited about making games, so like that's nice. I hope that they are because
I think they could honestly port it over to the new Source 2 engine. I think they probably could rework a lot of the animations to make it look a little more modern. I think they could essentially keep the game at what makes CS:GO good and make it even better. Aesthetically, visually, all that stuff. So that would be really cool to see. I think the game I'm thinking of that's very similar to CS:GO in VR is Pavlov VR.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think I've heard
it's like
about that too.
Yeah, and I think they just recently came out the Oculus Quest version of it. So yeah,
it would be kind of cool to see like Valve do another shooter that's completely separate from CS:GO. I feel like that would be a cool way to combat that. So like the hardcore Counter-Strike fans would still be playing Counter-Strike because at the end of the day they play just Counter-Strike, right? Like regardless of what's happening, they just are always going back to that game. I still find myself going back in and playing like a quick game.
I'm curious. I wonder if maybe some of these games that they're ready to announce or getting ready to announce are maybe some new IPs. It'd be cool to see something new creatively come from Valve.
Yeah, just like completely different instead of
something
doing
completely
another
different.
Half-Life or doing another Counter-Strike or doing
as much as we would love to see all of those like be revitalized or something new come from that, it's also interesting and exciting to see something entirely new come.
Yeah, that would be cool because they've had success in the past. They just don't do it very often, but it's been a while.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah. They've had a lot of time to work. All of the time.
They're just sitting there, and they've got money. They've definitely got that.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
So we'll see what happens.
I definitely have hope.
Yeah, for sure. So I think we're gonna move out to the new and upcoming releases, and then we'll kind of close out.
Cool.
So as I mentioned earlier, the Yakuza Remastered Collection hits Xbox Game Pass for console, PC, and Android. And this bundle, this collection includes Yakuza 3 Remastered, Yakuza 4 Remastered, Yakuza 5 Remastered, and these are all being added to Game Pass, and I think eventually Steam as well. I couldn't find anything on when that's supposed to come, and maybe it might be the same day. I just couldn't find anything on it, but January 28th. So probably when this podcast airs, it'll probably already be out. But they are, as I mentioned earlier, they already have Yakuza 0, Kiwami, and Kiwami 2, which are Kiwami and Kiwami 2 are the remakes of Yakuza 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
They're already on Game Pass. This next one is called Disjunction. You can check out the trailer on IGN. It's basically a cyberpunk stealth action RPG, and it's kind of like a top-down isometric, very like I want to say like 16-bit or something like that. Somebody's got their motorcycle out. I didn't think it was warm enough for that. It's fucking winter, man. Come on.
Dude. Ride or die, man. Ride or die.
That's right. There's a lot of ice out there. You probably will die.
Yeah. Pretty intense.
But yeah, I actually I think it was around summertime when they had all of those like Steam demos and stuff. Mm-hmm. It was basically like, the virtual E3 in a sense. And I played the demo for Disjunction. Really cool art style, really cool like music and stuff, but it's set in a dystopian underworld of 2048 New York City. So this is kind of like our, tourist
right. There we go. Tourist trap.
Yeah, it's just the future version. So Disjunction actually launches on January 28th for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. I feel like this would be really good on the Switch. But that was a really fun game. Had a really cool stealth element. This next one, Encodia. This actually really caught my attention. And I was like talking to somebody recently about how like they need to bring back and sort of revitalize the point-click adventure game. So this looked really cool. This is a cyberpunk point-click adventure game. Encodia has the main characters Tina and Sam 53, and you kind of explore the streets of Neo Berlin, solving challenging puzzles and meet strange beings in a story that will show them the true meaning of being alive. And had a really interesting art style for being like a point-click adventure game. Like it aesthetically looks really freaking cool. And that comes out January 26th. This next one is called Cyber Shadow. It says the summary: slash through armies of mechanical fiends to free your clan and discover what's happening during your rather long hibernation. This comes out Nintendo Switch, Macintosh, Xbox One, PS4, and PC on January 26th. And this kind of reminds me, I watched some of the gameplay trailer for it. It kind of reminds me of like, I don't know if you've ever seen that game, The Medium, or not Medium. What the hell? It was like kind of like Shinobi in a sense. You're playing as this like cyber ninja. It's like a 16-bit side scrolling, kind of indie type game. But it looks really cool, kind of Metroidvania in a sense. So that looked really awesome. And then the last one is called The Medium. This is also getting added to Xbox Game Pass, I think, around the same time as Yakuza. The Medium is a tension-fueled psychological horror game built around a central motif: how how your perspective changes your perception. This is on Xbox Series X/S and PC on January 28th. It looks kind of like a weird psychological mind-bending horror game, and you'd probably like this one too.
Yep. I was just thinking, I was like, that seems like exactly the type of game I'm gonna try out.
Sounds great. Yeah, it looks really cool.
It's like my favorite thing is when they can, in a horror game, kind of get you to like not like trust your own senses.
Yes.
Like I don't know if you ever tried Layers of Fear. I know that was like on sale a while back, but like they did a good job with that one where you're looking one way and then you turn around and then you look back the other way and it's completely changed like seamlessly. Stuff like that where you're just like, wait, I swear there was a hallway there just a second ago and now it's gone. Like stuff like that I love.
Yeah, stuff like
simulated insanity.
Yes, that reminds me of like Amnesia in a sense.
Amnesia did that too.
I could never finish that game. That game was way too terrifying. Because it was like,
you would hate Visage then. It's scary.
Because it's like, the more you go insane and you're like in the dark for longer, like your vision starts to distort and nothing makes sense at that point. And you're like, I just want to crawl up in this corner and fucking die.
When a horror game can be like, I make you not want to go through the door you need to go through, like then it's probably doing a good job.
Yeah, and like I have a really hard time playing. Like I used to be okay with it, but like sort of okay. But I have a hard time playing horror games when you're like unarmed.
Oh yeah,
like you literally just.
It's a big difference. Even though like there are a lot of the horror games where you are armed, it's like it doesn't matter. Like you're still useless. But like it's like that's like one of the things. Did you ever what was that series I played? Crap. Give me a second. I can't think of it. Hold on. I have Steam open somewhere. I
did play. There was that game in the Asylum, and I can't remember. Where you the camera.
Yeah. That's the one I'm talking about. Hold on.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called.
I've got it.
It's like
somewhere.
Too.
But I just played the sequel of that. Outlast.
That's it. I knew it started with an O.
So Outlast 1, fine. It was fine. It was a good game. It was like very linear, very kind of like chill. But I played Outlast 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's harder.
Is that it's a prequel, right?
I don't know. Yeah, it's either a prequel or it's like a completely separate game. I haven't played the first one in a while, but it's very similar, right? You're not armed. You just have a camera.
Yeah.
It's way more graphic. So if you are visually like not okay with stuff like nudity or like just straight up gore, it's just like there are just boobs everywhere and like
Perfect.
just like it, but like it's disgusting. That game is disgusting. Like I streamed it on Twitch, and like there were a lot of moments where I was like, I don't know if I can stream this. Like I don't know what's going on. I feel like I feel dirty. I feel dirty. I feel gross. But like the thing so at first I was kind of frustrated with some of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will give that game so much credit for is kind of like what after, like I think I liked the game more after I thought about it than while I was experiencing it, because the whole time you never once that entire game feels safe. Never once. It does not let up. You feel like you are in danger at all time. And
how I felt with the first one. Yeah, like
so
even
like the first one, the second one's even worse because the first one, it's very, I feel like it was more linear. It was more like I know where to go. Like, so like I know that there's a guy there who's gonna scare me, but I know I have to go this way. In this one, you don't even get that. Like I feel like you're lost the whole time. You just feel lost the whole game, and it's like on purpose. It's by design because the character is lost. He gets dropped down on an island. His girlfriend gets kidnapped by some cult. There's like religious stuff too. So like it's like a religious cult. There is like the heretics over here trying to kill you, the religious people trying to kill you. Like you're just like, okay, cool. I'm just in this island where everything is dangerous and everything's trying to kill me or rape me. So it's like, geez, like what is happening? This is terrifying. And I actually, the more I thought about it, like I was like, you know what? I think this game's really good. Like it's like it did like as all the stuff that I was frustrated were by design. So
yeah, that was how I thought about the first one. Like I was scared shitless going all the way through, including, you know, the massive amount of like penis that was kind of like in my perspective.
Oh, they definitely give you that.
Yeah,
there's lots of penis.
Like, I specifically remember there was like the twins in the asylum in the first game.
Yeah.
And they're like talking all creepy to you on the other side of the bars, you know, and they're like standing there naked with their fucking dicks hanging out, you know. And then there's that weird fucking like that weird surgeon, you know, that's just wearing the apron over, like just covering his dick, and it's just like, dude, you're so fucking creepy.
Yeah, this one, honestly, this one's worse with that stuff. There's a couple characters in it where you're just like, I just don't want to look at you anymore. You're so weird and gross. But I think this game was overall, I think, a better game than the first one, the second, like the sequel, and I played that one. But again, like if you get triggered by like violence or anything, like in general, it is not the game for you. It is a triggering game.
I remember playing the first one, and then once I finished, I was like, oh, that actually was really good. Like, and I thought about playing it a second time, and I played like 5 minutes of the beginning, and then I was like, do I really want to subject myself to this again?
I mean, I would recommend if you enjoyed the first one, because again, I actually like think that the second one's a better overall game, to be honest. Like, just it's a more polished version. The story's really good, but like it's hard for me to recommend that game to someone because like right off the gate, you're gonna be like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, VileShrew? Why would you do this to me?
Yeah.
Like like I feel like there are certain movies and certain games that like I do think people should play, but like I don't want to be the one to recommend it to you so that you can call me up and be like, what's wrong with you? We're not friends anymore.
Oh my god, that's awesome. Actually, speaking of which, I don't have any games per se to suggest or any TVs or movies, but is there anything that you want to put your stamp of approval on that you might want to let people know?
So like, I mean, yeah, like Outlast 2, but like with an asterisk.
Use at your own risk.
Yeah, it's at your own risk. I do actually recommend it. A lot of people are playing like Among Us. I don't know if you know, like if you probably, I mean, a lot of people know it at this point, right? And things like that. If you like that style game, I actually really enjoy a game called Project Winter.
Okay.
Which I don't know if you've seen before, but it takes like all the cool stuff about Among Us and then mixes it with almost like survival elements. So you still have like the same kind of formula where, you know, there's two people among you or however many people among you that are not on your side. And you have to figure that out as well, like in a multiplayer setting. But you also have survival elements. You need to eat. You need to like bring back food for your shelter. You need to like work together. There's proximity chat. And it's actually a really clean, fun looking online game, and it's super cool. Like it's really in depth, and like overall it's a better overall I think it's but like in a good way.
Cool.
And it's got all the elements that make Among Us fun, but it's a more in-depth game, but it definitely has not taken off like that has, which is because I think it does take a minute of learning the game, which is like fine. It's like it's nothing hard. It's not a difficult game. But it pretty cool to check out. If I think like they randomly put it on sale in the Steam store, so I will put my stamp of approval on that game. I think it's pretty dope, especially if you have friends that are willing to try it out with you.
Nice.
So that's one for me.
And where can you play Project Winter?
It's on PC. I don't know. I know for a fact it's in Steam. I don't know if it is on anything else or not off the top of my head.
Okay. All right.
But definitely, if you are a PC gamer, like give it a try. I'm checking right now in the store to see how much it costs. And I'll tell you if I can. Okay, so it's like $20 right now.
Okay.
But it goes on sale occasionally. I think I got it for like half price. So I would.
Awesome.
At $20, I actually still think it's probably worth it if you have friends to play with.
Mm-hmm.
But
how many can you play up to?
It's a decent amount of people. It's like I want to say it's like similar to Among Us, like 10 people ish.
10 or something.
Okay. But definitely really cool game. If you enjoy survival games and or like Among Us style games.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one random one that I definitely am like, you know what, this game's good.
That's awesome. Very cool.
I'm not sure if I have anything else off the top of my head that I played recently that I'm like 100% stamp of approval, but definitely that one.
Cool. All right. Cool. All right. And normally we have like pixel to pixel, but we don't have anybody. We didn't have anybody write in or anything.
Yeah.
Or did you have any movies or TV, anything that you wanted to mention?
No, I've been like flying through shows.
Yeah, I know. Me
I
too.
just started, or I'm almost done with Mr. Robot. Have you seen that?
Great series. Yes.
Loving it. Awesome. I'm the last season finally. It's pretty dope. So far, stamp of approval for sure.
Yes.
I watched all the classics. I did The Wire. I did Sopranos. I did.
I need to watch The Wire.
Oh my goodness, you do. It's easily in my top 3 shows. Like right now for me, it's Sopranos, Breaking Bad, and The Wire are my top 3, and they change order every time I think about it. So
that's awesome.
The Wire is like, yeah, The Wire is great. I highly recommend The Wire for anyone. Like
I've heard nothing but good things about that.
It's a phenomenal show.
Yeah.
There is and there's a bunch of actors you'll recognize because a lot of those guys like got their start there. Some of the kids are huge now. Like
yeah, I was watching the trailer and I saw like the cast in it. I was like, holy shit! Yeah, this is like really filled.
Cast is like it's a lot of excellent actors.
Yeah.
Like just top down, like from main characters to like even just like you'll have like a couple side characters that you'll recognize and be like, oh man, they're in this too. Like it's just so good. It's really good.
Cool. I just got HBO Max and I started watching like a bunch of series on there and movies. I just finished watching Barry.
I love HBO. Barry.
That was so
good.
Yes. Yeah.
Is there how many seasons have they done? 2?
2. And I think there was like rumors about them like being in process or like being done with season 3. Mm-hmm. But they stopped. Like, I guess they hadn't started on production yet. Like they had it, it's all written and everything, but they were supposed to start filming last summer. Nice. Or I think it was like end of 2019, but then, the pandemic hit and they basically like, they've only had contact virtually with each other, what's his name? Bill Hader.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the director and everything, they've just basically had contact. So they haven't started filming yet or whatever.
That show is so fun. I love that show. And he's so good in it. He's so good. It's
cool to see Bill Hader in like a different role. Like
oh my
kind of
goodness.
A more serious role.
He's so good. And it's like it's still funny. Like the show is funny.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, just because it's like funny with how ridiculous some of the scenarios they get themselves into are. But also at the same time, like it's from like an honest, cool place. Yeah. And Bill Hader is he's such a good actor that he can carry that show. It's so and he's surrounded himself with also like other like amazing, like the cast is just great.
Yes.
But holy, like that show like just gives like it just has everything you want in television, in my opinion. It's got like it's got its actiony moments. It's got like a real cool like relationships. It's got an absurd story. Like if you were to try and explain that story to someone, you're like they're just gonna be like, I'm sorry, what? Like
yes, I had that same exact moment. I was at work and I was explaining it to one of my coworkers and they were like, yeah, they gave me that look like, what are you fucking talking about?
Like, yeah, it's about a hitman and he takes some improv classes. And it's like, well, what?
They're like, this sounds like a weird show.
Really weird. And it's like, no, just trust me and watch it. Like, it's great. I love the show. I love it. Like, and I don't want to. And that's another show where I don't want to say too much because like there's just like sport. Like it's just experiencing that show is just a blast.
It is.
I definitely dig that show. That's a good one. Yeah. I forgot about that one actually because I watched it maybe like a year or 2 ago.
Yeah, I just finished that, and then I also finished. It was a new series on HBO called Avenue 5.
I have not seen that.
It's really good. It's got Hugh Laurie, from House.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a bunch of other really good actors in there. But it's just like this space cruise, basically. And it takes place in the future. And Hugh Laurie is basically the captain of this like space cruise ship, and it's owned, the whole company of this like space travel agency is owned by damn it, what's his name? He played as Olaf in Frozen. and I can't think of the.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know.
Yeah, and he's the owner of this company.
Nice.
Yeah, and so like basically something happens, and like the whole ship starts like they get stuck out in space longer than they're like planning on, and they have to like try and figure out how the hell they're gonna get home, and it's just like everything falls apart. So it's like kind of serious, but it's also just very funny. And they're all like 20, I think they're all like 20 to 30 minute episodes. So they're like pretty quick to get through. And they only have one season out right now. So it's like, I think 8 or 9 episodes. So yeah, I thought it was pretty excellent.
Nice.
So I'll put my stamp of
approval. I watched Umbrella Academy. Have you seen that one?
Yes. Yeah, I'm all caught up.
Also, I dig that one too. Another one where it's like, seems seemingly honest place, but also really weird sense of humor. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I can't wait until they come out with more of that.
Yeah, that one's solid.
Yeah. I think there was one other one I wanted to mention. Shit. The Boys.
I have not, but I have heard multiple recommendations for it from friends.
Carl Urban is also like one of the main characters in that show, and he does an excellent job of using the C word extensively. And it's a great like superhero show if you want to imagine like superheroes being just like asshole actors, basically, with superpowers.
It looked really interesting. I like it. That's on my list.
Yeah, definitely check that out. All right, cool. So at this point, we would normally get to the retribution/corrections. We don't have any corrections this week, but we're counting on you guys to help us build this podcast into something really great and worth your listen. So if we happen to get anything wrong or mischaracterize things from time to time, this is your opportunity to help us so we can set the record straight in future episodes. We're counting on you guys to hold our feet to the fire, so just don't burn us too badly. But yeah, so that is all the time we have for today's podcast. We hope that you guys enjoyed what you heard, and we truly appreciate you all tuning in for another episode of Digital Denizens. You have no idea how much it truly means to us that we're able to do this podcast, that you listen, and that you write in. As I always say, hit that subscribe button, and if you like what you hear, keep your ear to the ground for more to come very soon. I also, I wanted to give VileShrew, I want to give you a chance to kind of plug your information in. So people kind of know where to find you and, kind of jump onto your stream a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm mostly a Twitch streamer. Twitch.tv/VileShrew. I've got, that. I've got a YouTube, which is just YouTube, just VileShrew. But make content on that all the time. I stream about 5 days a week, usually later night if you're East Coast, a little bit less late night if you're West or, other country. I have a lot of like people from all over that watch. We're a good, fun community. I play lots of games. You got a decent idea if you listen to this one, but check it out. Twitch.tv/VileShrew is like the main one, I would say. And then I've got, stuff on I've got Instagram, Twitter, all that. But yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I'll plug the information into, social media when the podcast episode goes up. So you guys also, if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you'll know where to find him as well. So yeah, thank you again for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's an awesome episode. So yeah, come back for more, if you guys want to listen to more of us being ridiculous.
And keep your eye out for Tourist Trap. That's gonna be my project. Yeah, keep your eye out.
Oh my God. Can't wait.
Spread a rumor that it's happening, and then
we'll put out a release date.
We'll do it. No, we got to put out a release date for soon, and just keep pushing it back. Just keep pushing it back and blaming different things.
We'll
release it like 15 years down the line.
Yeah. Whatever happened to that game? Yeah, coming out soon. Oh man. All right, thank you guys, and have a great week. Try to keep your head up and respect one another. We be good to each other. Thank you.
You are listening to Digital Denizens.